once again, let's check out another Lemon Amiga Playguide and review. This time it's Imperator, developed by Bernie Knoll and published by Isolona and Epic Marketing in 1998. You can see from the introduction we get that Bernie Knoll created most of this game on his own, and then it gives us some basic options. So let's choose the easy mode for this, let's choose the stock name, and let's not play the intro because it crashes on my version. And now we get into the game itself. Tribute Julius Caesar gives his orders. This is us, and you can see right from the beginning this reminds us straight away of Centurion. And so this is our empire. The goal is to take over the lot of it, including Carthage, and you can see the same Carthage armies floating around there in the Mediterranean. It's 275 BC, and in 275 BC you can see Hispania and Gaul and Britannia and even Ireland are there as well. And yes, we'll have to try to take over the whole lot if we want to complete this game. You can see Arabia, Syria and Asia there, and you can see Sicily and Sardinia are probably one of the easiest ones to take over at the beginning of the game, and you can see lots of buttons on the bottom. The easiest one is the map that shows us what we've taken over and what we have yet to take over in the game, and I think those three dots are possibly the boats that are hanging around there from the Carthaginians. And so there's a lot of buttons on the bottom. If you want to return to the map, it's the first one, and selecting this pie button, it's actually the forum or the Senate. You can see we have 20 supporters, 20 enemies and lots of undecideds on our way towards the top of the empire. And you can also distribute grain from here as well. Anybody who's played Hammurabi will get that joke, perhaps one person in the entire audience, and you can also bribe senators from here as well. And so that pie chart is the Senate. Next one is the provincial administration. We haven't got any provinces yet. Next is the legions, which I'll come back to, and also boats. We haven't got any boats either. And so let's check out the food stores. We can check out the wine production, which is definitely necessary, and the grain. We can also buy and sell wine and play the stock market from here as well. And we can also check out our balance and really get into the stocks and measures if we really want to do that. And so let's check out the stock market balance report. It says we really need to increase wheat and we really need to increase wine. So that's perhaps something to remember for later on in the game. And so this one, well, this is make a pact, I think, make a friendly peace and trade, but we haven't got any provinces just yet. Cleopatra, well, we can sell her, well, we can give her lots of things as a tribute. We can see if she likes us, and no, she won't deal with a worm. And so we can strike an alliance with Egypt, but they won't deal with us at this point. We really need to be a higher leader if we want help from Egypt. And so we can't summon up Cleopatra, but we can summon up the gods. There are a number of gods in the game, 5 gods altogether, with the top one of course being Jupiter, who rules them all. 1 god to rule them all. I've no idea what any of these gods do, but you can invoke them, and the ogre says don't invoke the gods at the moment, so let's not invoke that one. There's also Venus, and if you really want to get to know Cleopatra, that might be a good one to choose. If you choose it, it will weave a magic spell on the land, and maybe that will recognise us, maybe that won't. So that's the gods all taken care of, and the disc at the end is load and save a game, and you can also see a button. That means you can save and exit and start all over again if you really want to do that. Let's check out the version. This is version 1.21 English according to this, created by Bernie Knoll in 1998. And so you can also check out your record of achievements, which is 0 at the moment. So you can see this game is actually very similar to Centurion. We can do virtually the same things. You can see our camp is highlighted in red on the map. So let's check out our legion. We've got 1 of those at the moment because we are ranked at the lowest of the low. And so you can see morale is excellent, and we can command 4,000 legionnaires at this point. We can get a legion ready from that menu, and we can also buy extras from this one. Unfortunately, I can't buy anything because I'm not a high enough rank, and I need to be a legate before I can even get archers, and I've certainly got enough legionnaires at this point. We have 4,000 out of 20,000 available. So we can also change the leader. We've got currently Ridiculous leading the band. We can also have Calamitous for 300, and the more we pay the leader, hopefully the harder and the stronger the army will be. So if you pay Disastrous 2,000, it will be better, but let's just get Calamitous anyway. It's one better than the old guy, so the troops are entertained by that. So that's the leader. We can also stock them up with food at this point. Let's give each guy 1 urn, and let's give 10 urns to the entire army. And we can also trade as well, I think, with that button, and build things with this one. I don't think I can build a new legion yet because I'm not ranked up, and I don't want to demobilize anybody either. So if you right click on that one, well, if you left click, it will tell you when it's ready. If you get it ready like that and click the right mouse button, it will change the icon to a funky guy running around, and you can see that funky guy at this point can't walk through water, but he can raid Sicily. Expeditions to Barbaric Land, yes. And so we faced the guy in Sicily, and just like all the other games that we've seen, it gives us some fair warning that we're about to get into battle. We can then flatter the guy, threaten him, go to war, or give up altogether. Let's try and flatter the guy first of all, and just like Centurion, it never works. Your sublime magnificence astounds us. That didn't do anything. You false-tongued rogue, your empty praise will kill you. So let's kill him anyway. Let's pacify, and we can delegate or command that army. According to the sacred chicken, and the outcome is uncertain, you definitely need to pay heed to the sacred chicken in this game. So let's move on to the next section. It's the battle scenario, and just like the Caesar game, I think it was, with the bolt-on add-on, you can play different battles by pressing the spacebar. We can move those guys around, and then when we're happy with that, we can press enter. We can choose different formations at this point, and you can see the rocks on the horizon are actually supposed to be hills. The enemy has chosen its battle scenario, and the Sicilians are relatively easy at this point, certainly a lot easier than the Gauls. So we're going for an easy battle first of all with our small skirmish army, and you can always stop the battle at any point and change your tactics. You can see the tactics on the bottom left. You can either stand where you are and fight where you are and move selected units around, or full on melee attack. So what can we do? We can click on the units, and we can also move them anywhere we like on the battlefield by pressing that left mouse button. And if we choose to melee like this, then all of the units on the battlefield will run towards the enemy quite at random. If we choose melee, then usually the guys will ignore your orders completely, and that's not very good in the heat of the battle. You can see the gun is mince-meating us at the moment, so let's meet that gun head on. Let's press that left mouse button, and let's try to move the guys behind the gun and take that gun on. You can see pressing the mouse button, they're slowly moving towards that gun, and it really would be top priority at this point. The catapult is history, and that means that we can press the left mouse button again and choose to move our armies about. And you can see by the faces in the corner how happy they are and how many legionnaires and how much strength they've got between them. And if they have a hand in front of their face, it usually means they're blocking somebody, or maybe they're in attack. If you press the right mouse button, you can turn the legionnaires around, and so I'm trying to get over to that right flank. In melee, the soldiers will go towards the top priority, and in the top priority in this case is the cavalry. That's why the cavalry are sometimes hopefully getting a beating from those guys, and we can see some guys running away in the centre of the screen. But what I'm attempting to do is try to get behind and envelop those guys. Of course, that's the classic manoeuvre. But again, if you click on melee like this, the third button on the bottom of the screen, then unfortunately that means that everybody will run round and attack a random object, and it means that nobody will attack the object that you're trying to get to. We can also strengthen the army by clicking on, it looks like lightning rods in the bottom corner, and we can click on something to reinforce one of our legions, but we can only do that once in the entire battle. That's calling on the gods again. And so at this point, well, you can see one unit is in panic. You can check out the enemy units as well, and it's a very asterisk cartoon character in the bottom corner. Let's reinforce one of our guys. And the guys are in panic in the middle, but they're all blocked in, so they're having to fight anyway. So let's reinforce those guys and hopefully bring the others around the back. Again, we can only activate that just the once, and thankfully some of the soldiers are trying to get that idea.
Hey. Hey. Hey.
There are an assortment of buttons, and the very centre buttons, you can see the arrows basically turn the guys around, and at this point I haven't got much of an idea what the ones do on the right, because as you can see it's supposed to be in English, but most of it is in German. You can see press right mouse button to turn them around, so let's turn them around, and let's try again to manoeuvre those guys during the one battle that we'll see in this play guide. And yes, click on the middle button, that means defend and manoeuvre. That means we can defend with the guys already defending and manoeuvre with the rest. We're not just meleeing guys around the battlefield.
Hey.
This game was reviewed by Amiga Format and they gave it 73%, and that means it's got an average score of 70%.
Hey.
I find this point and click aspect is just a bit easier than the line drop aspect that we managed to get in Centurion, and that was a very basic battle mode, and I think this game has 3 modes of difficulty, of which we definitely are playing on the lowest one at the moment. Let's try to surround those guys and finish them off, and as soon as we get enough of those soldiers, they will hopefully surrender, and at that point the battle will end. We will also get the results of that battle on the screen. A great victory! Julius defeated the guy in 61 moves, so just like chess it even shows you the moves, and Cecilia now enjoys Pax Romana. That means that basically we've conquered that area. So it's as easy as that in this game. Press the right mouse button, move the guys around and conquer a new area. Get yourself some lands, get yourself some boats, and attack the rest of the world. To move on another year, we press that button, so let's move on to the next year, so that we can command the units again. And look at this, Hannibal, the leader of the Carthaginians, says, well, he's actually accusing the Roman of being vermin. Carthage will exterminate you to the last man, he says in English. That's cannibal of the Carthaginians, so you have to laugh at the cartoony atmosphere in this game. It doesn't take itself seriously. Fortunately, we need boats to get over to Carthage and kick Hannibal's ass at this point. So what can we do? Well, we're a bit short on cash. You can see we have 33,000 at the moment, and 33,000 isn't much. And so what can we do? We can hold games as well, just like Centurion, and we can't hold much with 33,000, so we're going to cheap out and get some old tramps in and to perform a gladiator show on that hopefully entertains the population. Let's get rid of that, and what else can we do? Well, we can also raid the city. We've got Syracuse there on Sicily, that's on our side, and we can also donate some money to Cleopatra at this point. And let's see, by donating some money to her, whether that gets her on our side. And let's not spend a fortune at this point. Let's just give her a token gesture, and let's see her response. I don't accept presents from eunuchs. Only my crocodiles could find interest in you. Only my crocodiles could find interest in you. Yeah. So, we're not going to get any help from Cleopatra. We can't sow any seeds or any crops or reinforce any provinces with the money that we've got available. We're down to 20,000, and so we haven't got enough cash. And this game isn't measured in talents and denarii either. So we can plunder what we've just taken over, and this will discredit us, but let's plunder it anyway, because this is just a quick playthrough, and that amounts to us kicking the arse of the enemy, sacking the city, looting the place for 65,000 coins. That puts us up to 85,000 coins in the bank. And so let's move on to our next game. This is Elysium. Elysium begins with some fantastic title music as well. Elysium was developed by Deep Thought. This is a Deep Thought program, and it was published by Magic Bytes in 1993. Elysium was another German-only game, and so that's why not many people probably played the game. Have up to 6 players. We can also change the music and the sound effects, load, check out the high scores from here as well. There are a number of provinces in the game, but not as many as the games that we've seen already. Clicking on player 1, we can then enter our name, and in this case we can type that on the keyboard, and having selected our province of Mauritania, we'll then start the game. After some more phenomenal in-game music and tremendous map, we get the main screen, which again is a Senate. And you can see that our guys will give orders to our militia and also our economy. And between the militia and the economy, hopefully we can take over the entire game. That's our pile of cash on the table, hopefully 4,000 talents. And let's check out the map of the world. And of course, this is a very basic map, but you can see in the bottom corner, Mauritania, that's us. And apparently we can see all the way over to the Balearics on the other side of the Mediterranean from here. And Mauritania, well, we're going to have to take over quite a lot of land before we get to the meat in this game. You can see, checking out the local map, we're there on the North Peninsula of North Africa, Mauritania, and it's very familiar from Hannibal. And so, checking out militia, it gives us one option, and that's to build the militia. We don't have the option to launch an offensive at this point until we've got the soldiers together. Because this is all in German, I don't understand a syllable of it, and I think if you click on one of these guys, it will recruit the guys that are willing and able to go into the army. I think it's this guy, and of course if you select what is there, willing and able, then that will move from ready into soldiers, and you can click enlisting on the bottom to enlist them with the army. But no matter how much I try to do that, it doesn't do anything. And so you can see an animated presentation of the screen, so it's one step up from other games. It ranks up there with Defender of the Crown. You can see we can also, well, if we click on the guy doing the books, he takes care of all of the army and all of the soldiers that we want to buy. And all of the soldiers that are ready and waiting are listed here. They're all queued up in a line, and those are very expensive, as you can imagine, so it's important to get a good army at the start of the game and don't waste your cash on units that you can ill afford. So let's just check out all of the other bits of the game whilst we are here and try to get an understanding of this German game. Playing this off the disc at the moment, that's why there are long disc loading sections going on. You can see some information, but it's all in German. So we'll try to skip as many parts of this as possible and get to the interesting bits. Again, this is another simulator. Look at that, this reminds us of maybe the Oregon Trail. Anybody who remembers that? Maybe 2 people in the audience have played the Oregon Trail. You can load up a trail wagon with supplies and maybe that populates another area, maybe that starts off a new city. And it's always impressive to see an animated screen rather than just a static screen. And we've seen plenty of static screens in games already, so this one just tries to take it that bit further, and Magic Bytes are quite a good company for releasing quite good games. So if this was understandable, I'm sure I could get lots of fun with it. This is the area where we can equip our soldiers with basic armour, light armour, heavy armour, or chainmail that costs a fortune. And of course this line is where we can buy the troops. The end of the line is the guy who's making the books, and after we've made our selection, we can click on the guy writing the books and he'll tell us how much the bill is going to come to. In that case, it's going to come to 3,402 talents, of which we probably haven't got enough in the bank. So that army and those defences and those longbows and those arrows and that expensive chainmail means that we can no longer, unfortunately, continue the game. So that's the army recruitment screen that you've seen, and it's great to click on the items instead of having a bank of buttons at the bottom that we have to work out. And of course bots in the background. We can also check out the bots as well, and that opens with an animation that you might recognise from one of our presentations. Unfortunately, there isn't a huge bank of buttons at the bottom of the screen that we need to work out and fathom out. Instead, we'll have to click on everything on the scenery, like a Monkey Island game, and eventually we'll click on the right pixels to activate what's going on. In this case, we can buy some bots. In this case, we can't afford any, so let's just skip the screen and move on back to the Senate again, and let's try to find another option that we can do in the game. It's fantastic music and it's fantastic graphics and it's great animation as well, and we haven't seen the best of it yet. Let's move on to another section and let's check out those amazing graphics. And we find the slave pit, and slaves in this game do play parts, unlike many of the other games that we've seen. You can see on the bottom we do get icons. We can unchain those guys, we can jail those guys, we can crucify the guys, and so we can also send them up for a little bit of a sports challenge as well. You can see the morale of the guys and the strength, and the sports challenges range from basic arena fighting to gladiator fighting, orgies we can have with the slaves as well, and of course chariot racing. Let's queue up some chariot racing for the slaves, and so that'll be on their itinerary. And unfortunately we're not going to get any slave chariot racing in this review. Back to the forum, you can see that we've now checked out most of the options, and there is a bill on the table as well. And let's check out the normal area. I'm not sure whether we can pan around the city and turn that around like many other games in this genre on the Amiga and build buildings and like civilization and things like that. You see Mauritania is 391 BC at the moment, and so there's plenty of time to get going. You can see there's now lamps lit left and right in the lampstands, so it must be getting dark outside. And you can see we've spent all our money, but we've got a big bill on the table from the guy billing us from the army. Mauritania in 391 BC is broke already before we've even set off. And so let's try and, well, let's move along and see something else. And you can see some fields, and if you look closely, you can see the river moves, the guy's in the background moves, the guy's beard moves as well. And it's great to see those little touches and spot the difference touches in this game. By moving that mouse pointer around, we can buy and sell stuff and trade stuff and grind wheat down and buy new mills and fields and plant the corn. Unfortunately, yet again, we can't afford anything, and when I click on the guy, he thinks about it but doesn't do much about it at this point. We've got 2 fields, and that's not really amazing. We've also got Rome, and by moving around Rome we can buy things for our major city, including a stadium and even some more Strasses, some more roads as well. And by clicking on one of these, let's just click on one, let's just buy another forum, and that should hopefully increase something, though I've no idea what at this point. And if we wave our mouse pointer around the Centurion, he swats us away like a fly. Back to the menus, this is as far as I could fathom of this game, and I couldn't get anywhere with it, and I've no idea what this is. Maybe it's another recruitment drive for some more slaves in our army. But this game, as far as I know, wasn't rated in many magazines, and it's only got a 6 out of 10 rating on the Amiga database, and I have no idea what to rate this game, so I have no idea how to play it. So thank you for viewing another Playguide and review. Thank you.